day, lords and ladies. Welcome back to Battle Brothers. As we... there we go. During the camp, uttering the name to draw word from the tongue of the indomitable, the old gods, the beyond time, their vast numbers invoking of specific things, enduring as this is their listenings familiar or not with their faith, it has been a great weight on any defeat for those who follow those unbridled beings. The crusade is over and the northerners have lost. You watched the Northerners try and explain it to one another how it came to pass. It was not terrestrial defeat here, nor even a victory of the Southerners. No, this was punishment. The Northerners have gazed far from the Holy Lands. They have meadowed in material world. Priorities and churches dot the realm empty and hollow for far too long. Naturally, incurring about the nature of the Southern Gilder has also come, but they are quickly pass. To even dwell on him is to invite doubt, and right now doubt is as dangerous as poison. Of course, the sounds of Kono stays distant. Seltord that you are, you put your faith in sword and in purse, and both go in dues and ward. The only philosophies you are doing in these days is to come pondering just how soon the North and South will resume strife. They're starting their different stating the differences. Perhaps now it would be a good time to put up the sword and enjoy some rest. We still will command. Okay, so the war between North and South has ended. It is over, ambition has been fulfilled. You watch the crowd of the great guilders stream towards the holy sites. As you take stock of the inventory, a dozen old men come around and stop before you. They announce themselves as scribes and historians who are undertaking great collection of the holy war. Apparently someone has pointed you out to them, but they're not entirely sure who you are. You explain that the Vizier hired you, say, as you in a crownling. One of the old men guts you off. His quill pen scratching and a sudden stop, he shakes his head. No. We're looking for a catalogue of successors of those responsible for returning sacred lands to the Gilded Light. You are srivelings, opportunists, no doubt, conniving, crownling. Have a nice day. They depart before you retreat. Although you suspect if you had moved for a bit of back and forth, you probably had given them a bit of steel to deal with. Jerma, the belly dancer, walks up and asks you who they were. You shrug. Just a bunch of nobodies. You have completed renown. They are content. If they love or hate you, the sounds kind of now known. I suspect if he did better in the war, we would have a better outcome than that. So, they control the holy sites, except the oracle. We can get back down there, which is nice. Right. Faction relations. Yeah, they're cold towards us. It is how it is. Now, probably what realistically we want to do, yeah, we got some tools. Since the Civil War has ended and we have got the achievement for it, we have a couple of options. So they're hunting us, are they? Okay. No, God, no, what are you doing? Right. Nomads on the road. We do have a nice larger vision than they do. Come on. Right. So we could do some stuff if we wanted to. This has been like the Crusader story arc. If we end this game now, I doubt we'll get a particularly good ending, to be honest. Just because I know how the game works, but we were never really expecting to be a full playthrough. I wanted to experience the event, the religious war event, and some of the new content. And we really have actually done that, which is nice. So it is tempting. I think what we do is we'll play for one more. We'll play for this session. They've only got mirages. That's not great. We'll play for this session, and then we'll try a different start. Though we have a good party here, I would really, really like to see what the manhunter, like the slave master start is like. Walk the lands, trading between towns. Let's go the trading between towns stuff. Won't really matter. but I would like the idea of seeing what the slavery, like the slave master start is, because that plays very differently to this. This is your bog standard. Alps. I hate dealing with these guys. They disappear during the day, so you only ever fight them at night. This is your very bog standard traditional start, and it plays very differently. So we have sort of finished the Civil War. So if we wanted to, I think what we will do, the Civil War has come to an end. I would like to show off some more of the content, so what I think we will do is I think we will, first of all, I'll save this as Blazing Deserts LP. In case we want to continue doing it at a different time, we'll retire. Yep. So basically, here we go. The commander of Santos Kerno, you thought you might play a part of sort of dashing up brigands. Little did you realise that the whole world would be embroiled in religious turmoil. When the north and south turned on each other with holy fury, you captained a company of opulent ends. If the old god's followers asked for your sword, you brought the might and main of the northern mountains. The guild asked, you brought the sun. While at a jazzing tournament, a young boy was using an oddly shaped yet perfectly crafted bow. His aiming hand was shaky, yet the arrows you had a sorry, I lost place. While a tournament, a young boy using an oddly shaped, perfectly crafted bow, his aiming hand was shaky, yet the arrows did not wobble upon being loosed. After he won the competition, you inquired out where the boy had gotten such an incredible bow. He stated that the bowyer by the name of Godswin had crafted it. Apparently, he's known for making the finest bows in the land. He was with you from the start, Milak, and he was with you in the tournament, leaving the company not long after you did, but he wasn't yet done with fighting life and took up fighting for another company his own. Having learned so much from you, your leadership making you as proud a son as he could. Ironically, he hates the notion of you being a father figure to him, and you always tell him you'll never father a son as so ugly. To begin with, you keep in touch to this day. With retirement for the sands of Kerno, you actually found yourself in a proper time to mull over the old gods and Gilda. Maybe there was some truth to one or the other. Perhaps they are both correct, or if you weigh those thoughts gingerly, perhaps neither is right. But these faiths are not alone, it seems. Religious uprisings spring up everywhere, cast out in debris of religious wars, no doubt. Just the other day, a third major entity arrived, one you've come too knowledgeable about. The disciples of Dafkur, as he professes his thoughts on the dark and the arcane, you shut the door in his face. Maybe another time you would the chop and a sock drawer to organise. So this is how our little taster of the vanilla start to this game ends. I wanted to basically test out some of the new content while playing the vanilla start as the Southern Mercenary, which is interesting. A nice introduction, as it were. But there was some other stuff that I wanted to do, because some of these new starts are very interesting. So, for example, like this is the one we played with, which is a quick start in the southern part of the world without any particular advantages or disadvantages, which is fine. There are lots of different starts we haven't played. Like I'd like to try Northern Raiders at some point, with most human factions. That would be interesting. But these are the two that we have left that we haven't tried from this new expansion. We haven't tried the Gladiator start, and we haven't played the Manhunter start. And they play very differently. If you play the Manhunters, you have a 16-man battle lineup, which is quite powerful. Having equal or fewer indebted than non-indebted will make your men dissatisfied. So basically, we always have to have at least 9 members of our party as slaves, indebted as they call them in this game, to be our fighters. Because if we don't, we suffer penalties. Overseers, all non-indebted can whip indebted in combat to reset their morale and buff their stats. Indebted earn 25% less experience and are capped at 7 and will die if struck down. So these guys are very, very expendable. It's considered a 2-skull challenge. The Gladiators is a 3-skull challenge, and the Southern Company is a 1-skull challenge. I mean, there's a lot of starts I haven't done. Haven't done the Peasant Militia. Haven't done the Poachers, Trading Caravan, Deserters. Northern Raiders. There's a lot of... I did the Cultist, which was fun. Some of the later stuff is not as good, though, unfortunately. Beast Slayers is interesting. Lone Wolf is very cool. I think what we will do, though, is I will try out the Manhunters, because this is one I have been very interested in. So, what I think I'm going to do... Yes. Is that this will probably be... We'll start this, and this will be the end of the current... Like, this will be basically the end of Season 1 for Battle Brothers Blazing Deserts. And the next episode will be like the more in-depth dive into this. We'll have a look at this and see what we have. We'll go with let's see what else we have. The Steel Pact, that could be something, or the Blood Pact, which if you know Warhammer 40k, you know what the Blood Pact are. We'll go with the Blood Pact. We'll go... What symbol do we want to have? There's lots of very interesting symbols now. Some very cool ones. This is the one we had in the last campaign, which is nice. I think we might have something a bit different. Let's see. That's a little experiment. We shall go with... Yeah, we'll have that. The Gilder, the son of the God of the South. We'll go with that. And we can choose which one we want to have. I'm going to just slam it on random. That's fine. Not going to put permanent destruction on. I find permanent destruction unrealistic, to be honest. Because... To be fair, historically, if a place got destroyed, it relatively quickly got rebuilt, especially if they were big trading places. So having permanent destruction doesn't really make sense to me. We'll go with that. Starting funds high. Yeah. We'll go... Let's see. I'm not a fan of expert in this game, because I find it to be... It tends to force you... down to some very predetermined sort of meta paths for your party. So I tend to prefer, like, the game is brutal anyway. Let's not lie. Like, combat in this game is brutal. So I tend to just go. I will put medium starting funds on, but I will go beginner and beginner, because even on beginner this isn't easy. Small bonus hit chance, enemies get a small penalty to ease you into game. We'll go veteran for combat difficulty, and yeah, we'll try it on veteran mode. If it fails or not, it will be interesting. We can go unexplored map, an optional way to play this game, where the map is entirely unexplored and not visible to you at the start of the campaign. You have to discover everything on your own, which makes your campaign more difficult, but potentially also more exciting. Yeah, like, why not? We'll check it out. It means that the world will not be revealed to us. Actually, wait, probably not a good idea, because that's probably better for a different start. We'll go with this. Here we go. The constant conflict between nomads, city-states, and vagabonds make for good business. Deserted criminals, prisoners of war, and indebted alike flee across the land, and you with manacle in hand give chase. Despite the barren wastes upon which they rule, the southern realms are home to large and often shifting populations, which makes personhood itself a resource worth harvesting. The river-like flow of persons is natural as an economy as raw material. Prisoners of war make up the bulk of your outfit. Beaten men who must submit to and fight for another force your own. Criminals and general riffraff fill in here and there, easy pickings from small villages who don't have the means to handle the resident refrigerates. resident reprobates, and those that are indebted, hellfire, doomed souls who must work their way back into the Gilder's gleam and find salvation through blood, sweat, and tears. While most must work as labourers, you favour pressing them into your company. Indebted will not protest, for even a priest is stated it must be within the Gilder's sublime visions that will find penitence in the blood pact. Everyone will earn salvation by working for the indebted in the Gilder. Right, so let's look at our group. We have 2 slave masters. As you can see here, we have Manhunter, hatred for the undead, I endure. So we can both whip crack, which is remind you indebted of your masters is by giving them a good whipping, so that they give their all up to including their own life. Inflict 1 to 2 points of damage that ignores armor on the target. Gives the target indebted whipped status, increases many of their stats to 2 rounds. The higher the level of the characters using the skill, the higher the increase. Sets the morale of a targeted indebted to steady if currently below. Okie dokie. So as you can see, we start with a lot of cannon fodder. So they get 25% less XP, limited to 7. Level 7 will die if struck down and will not survive if permanent injury. No morale check triggering for non-indebted allies upon dying is always content being in reserve. We have the Manhunter background. If I remember exactly when they were talking about the start, you basically capture people. Anyone who flees a battle at the end of conflict, you can have a chance of basically capturing. I believe that's what it was stated. Which is interesting. So we have a fairly okay lineup. None of them are particularly outstanding. The way that this basically plays, from my investigations of this faction, or to start, is that because these guys are always limited to level 7, you don't need to really worry about them dying too much. You want them to basically be cannon fodder. And it's the people at the back who are the ones that need to get as much experience as possible. The more experience they get, the more powerful they get. And what you want to have is that you want to have a core of very powerful backline units, while having disposable units in the front. Because obviously we don't pay a lot of money, because we don't pay our slaves. So let's get down here and let's have a look at the world map and see what we have as a world map start. A pretty open world map, to be honest. The city-states quite far apart this time in comparison to the last world we were in. Wow, okay. A fairly diverse faction lineup. So we've got House Nagrad, firm to act and gentle in manner, wealth is sought by many, but highly reputable traders of the House Nagrad are best when it comes to striking profitable bargains. Okay. They value honor and integrity. Right, they are a proud family. So they're basically... So this is the merchant family. This is like the aristocratic family, and these guys are a proud, unrelenting family with a loud, bloodstained history of conquest, seated in the fortress of Hasfest. They take with arms, consider theirs by right, and these are aggressive faction. Okay. From the shadows, a city ruled by ruthless council that Archie's power by all means many untalented. So they gotta have lots of assassins. These guys acquire knowledge, so they're knowledge hungry. And this is a merchant one. Okay. From what we have a look at, these guys are relatively small. These guys are like the warlike noble faction, relatively small scale. These guys are the merchant faction and are mostly up north, and these guys are the old noble faction. So not a bad setup. Like I said, this is just like having a look at how this is going to start. If we need to restart the game, we can. We'll keep an eye on the seed to make sure. We have 2,000 gold, and we do need to hire some more people. So we could hire some more slaves. We don't pay. He's not a slave. He's a tailor. So let's see what he's like. He hates orcs and is fragile. Nope. Sorry, you're not worth it. He's lucky, Night blindness is not so bad. He's disloyal. Not great. None of these slays are particularly great. Weasel. And we're wasting money just trying to find someone that's actually asthmatic. Asthmatic is not great. None of these guys are fantastic. I'd rather hire just a straight up, like someone like a day teller. Yeah, let's try him out. Yeah, he's a brute. We'll hire him. So the moment we hire him, he gets the whip crack ability, which is nice. We have to remember that morale will drop if they have Mrs. Books. His morale will drop if we have too many of them. What I would like, if it was possible, is it'd be nice to have like a like an overview for your start to remind you of particular start features. Because as of right now, I'm pretty sure, because I'm trying to remember, it's like if you have more than 50% of your force is not made up of indebted, yeah, it causes problems. Right. Rightio. I'm just trying to think. I haven't played the start before. I'm a bit uncertain. Interesting. We might cut this bit short, actually, this episode, just so that I can do a bit more analysis. But I think this is a good idea. I would like to check out this faction, this start, and dive into a bit more depth about it. So I think what I will do is that I will put a cut in here. I will save this start. I will save the seed so we have the same map, because I like the map that we're on. And we will go new save. And we will go, yeah, we'll go Man Hunter LP, and we'll save it. And I think what we'll do here is, before we dive into any depth to this, we're just going to basically have a look at what exactly is entailed with this start. Because there's no point rushing into a new start and then not knowing what you're doing. So yes, so for episode 1 of the next season, we will be going back into this world. I will keep a track of the seed that we will be using, which, if anyone is interested, is right here. I will write it down, and we will use it to generate this world again. And yes, I think this would be a nice, interesting exploration into the Manhunter start for Blazing Deserts DLC for Battle Brothers. And I shall see you all again next time, folks. Goodbye.